Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are back with another Q&A. This time you guys requested for us to talk about jealousy, which we know from the previous video. Gary feels like he needs more of in his life.
I need you to be more jealous.
First, I wanted to say a huge thank you to Jean for sponsoring this video. This outfit is by them. Wait, I want to show you my outfit. Will be linked in the description box for you. So let's start with the questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for the first question.
How do you handle jealousy in a relationship? I don't think it's applicable for our relationship, but in your previous relationships, how did you deal with jealousy?
How did I deal with the women I used to date being jealous?
Yeah.
It's gonna come to me.
I'll answer first.
I just don't remember much about my life before I was married to you, so it's hard for me to say.
Right. Okay, I'll answer first so you can come up with a memory. I hated it so much. I feel like I had a couple of relationships where the person that I was dating, I think it was one or two, it wasn't a healthy kind of jealousy. And I think jealousy has such it's a fine balance between being jealous to being possessive and like feeling like you own a person. I think that's where it becomes like an issue. I think in a healthy relationship, there needs to be a very clear understanding that this is another individual and you don't own them. So I think that there's definitely like one of our biggest, I would say, things we keep talking about is communication. So your job as a partner is to communicate with your partner, with your significant other, and make them feel comfortable enough to, trust you. So I think that toxic jealousy is like, I hate it so much and I run away from it. But when I feel like a little bit of jealousy, it can be maybe a little bit cute, but
I think the jealousy that you're talking about, I experienced jealousy where I had a girlfriend many years ago threatened to kill me if I would ever cheat on her.
But to me, that's not. Was it a joke? Because if it's a joke, it's funny. But if it's not a joke,
No. I woke up in the middle of the night with a knife to my throat with a death threat. So no, that wasn't fun. I never told you about that because
you did actually.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know that it was necessary for you to know. But in any case, I think that jealousy in general is a sign of something else. I think jealousy in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or whether you're dating someone, really is a sign of one of the partners not maybe potentially feeling inadequate, maybe potentially feeling insecure. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I do have to say in the defense of the person who is jealous, they may not have the emotional intelligence to control their jealousy. However, if this is somebody that is important to you, it's on you to make sure that you're not behaving in such a way to make somebody else feel jealous. So, as an example, when Valeria and I met, she's obviously a very attractive girl. I had a realistic understanding that there may have been relationships in the past. I also had a realistic understanding that there were probably men trying to call her, to try to court her, to try to take her out. But one of the things that I'll tell you that Valeria did in the very, very early days of our relationship is she never made me feel threatened. She always made me feel very comfortable and secure that I was the only person that she was talking to and I was the only person that she was interested in. Kind of fast forward to this day, I don't really have a lot of kind of jealous feelings and I don't have that negative emotion because Valeria continues to show me that I am a priority for her, myself, and our family as a priority. So I think jealousy is the type of thing, it's obviously very negative, but it can be controlled if you're being made to feel secure.
Right. I think that you need to have enough awareness. You need to look at jealousy as a red flag, but then once you identify as a red flag, then you have to have enough awareness to understand any actions that you are taking to, kind of cultivate that jealousy and to contribute to that ongoing emotion, or is that something you want to bring to the awareness of your partner? Maybe it's something of like inner work they have to get to and think about and do themselves. So I do think it's a red flag though. So that's that on jealousy for me.
We have another question.
Yes, is jealousy healthy to have in a relationship?
So I think a certain amount, yes. I wish Valeria would be a little more jealous, but I don't do anything to make her feel jealous. It's not like I'm out until like 3 a.m. Not like some other people.
I went out twice.
we'll get to that. But I don't do anything to make Valeria feel jealous, and she knows she's very secure in the relationship. But don't you ever sometimes see like women like eyeing me and be like, "Hey, that's my man," or women don't ever look at me?
If I see women look at you, I don't know, I take it as a compliment. Like, it makes me feel nice.
All right.
I'm not like, this is mine. That's ridiculous.
I mean, if you ever wanted to like, tell somebody off for looking at me, I'd be okay with that. I'm just putting it out there.
Does jealousy mean that you don't trust your partner, or is it a sign of passion, love? So I feel like we answered it kind of within the first questions, that it can be a red flag, and in my opinion, it's a red flag. There's no, like, jealousy cannot be good.
I disagree.
To me, jealousy is not love.
I disagree. I think jealousy can be a healthy thing. I think jealousy can be a type of thing where if you don't have any jealousy at all, you're not being kind of kept on your toes. You're not being stimulated. So I don't think it's a negative thing. I think the way someone reacts to it can potentially be a negative thing. But I think the feeling of jealousy is actually completely natural. And I think that if you were to behave in such a way, the thing is you don't behave that way.
Maybe I think I had a bad experience. Like, to me, jealousy is not a sign of love. There's nothing to me that, there's other ways for me to feel loved and wanted than jealousy. And I think I prefer those ways. And I think that maybe it's based on my experience and my previous relationships. To me, jealousy is not it.
Okay.
And I think that always was a red flag for me after I learned my lessons from those relationships. And when I met you, I think that's one of the things that I really love. Like, you were so secure and so confident in yourself, showed me that you love me and prioritized me, but jealousy wasn't part of the equation.
Do you want me guys to give you the secret of how to deal with jealousy? I can give you the secret right now. Especially like to your boyfriends, if the women who are watching this. I'll tell you what the secret is. The secret is that jealousy comes from insecurity, right? Jealousy comes from a man being potentially insecure. And the thing is that when I'm not around, and if you go somewhere and if I'm concerned that you might be doing something you shouldn't be doing, there's no point in being concerned about that because I can't control it anyways. I trust you implicitly. So to me, it's just like, if as a man or as a woman, if you've made the decision to trust your partner,
that's what I'm saying.
Then you shouldn't have the negative jealousy, the negative kind of enraging jealousy if you've chosen to trust your partner. If you still have that jealousy, and if you kind of backtrack and ask yourself, why am I jealous? And it's because I don't trust my partner, that's another issue. And you have to re-examine whether you should even be in this relationship if you don't trust this individual.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. So you see, jealousy is not a good thing. Okay, next thing. Who is more jealous, Gary or Valeria? I mean, apparently, I don't know, Gary maybe? But again, we don't do anything.
There's not a lot of jealousy. I do get upset when Valeria, like, on the rare occasions that I've told her, we've discussed this, when she goes out until like late at night, she's done it a handful. What are you doing?
I'm just checking my skin because I feel like it's broken. Yes, continue.
She's done this a handful of times. It's not a big deal, but I wasn't jealous. I was just a little pissed off about the fact that you went out and didn't tell me that you're coming home at 2:30 or 3 in the morning.
Right.
And I was just worried and you didn't answer your phone. Did I think you were out cheating? No, I didn't think you were out cheating. I just thought you were being irresponsible and I was pissed off about it.
So I think it was a miscommunication. How does either of you feel about the other being friends with their exes? I mean, listen, I think that we're married with 3 kids. If Gary decides to be friends with their ex, I don't know. I don't really have any feelings about it. Like, if he decides to bring a person of the past back into his life, I don't know, maybe they were good friends or something. I definitely don't have any exes.
I don't think I would do it because I don't see the benefit. What's the point? What's the point in having an ex around? And that's the other thing that's really weird. And I actually get a lot of DMs from, strangely enough, I get a lot of DMs from people who follow you asking me for relationship advice. And I remember this one woman, she messaged me and she said, listen, my boyfriend, he's so upset. Like, he has a real problem with my ex because we stayed good friends and he's my ex. And why is he so upset? Because he's your ex and you still have him in the picture. Get rid of your ex.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's probably not.
To me, that's just a really simple thing. Like, you shouldn't have exes. I don't think you should have exes around.
That's the type of thing that will make your partner jealous or create this whole scenario in their minds that probably is not there. So I feel like it's not a good decision making if you do that. If you decide to do that.
If you have a kid with your ex, then you have to communicate with your ex as that kid. If you don't, why is that ex around?
Right. Do you look at who Gary's following on social media? What do you think about your partner following women or men who are models, influencers, celebrities?
Have you ever looked to see who I follow?
No.
It's funny because
Do
do I look to see who you follow? No, I don't. But what's interesting is I've asked myself a question like, is it okay if I follow so-and-so person because of what you may think of me following that person? But then I say to myself, like, I know why I'm following this person. So I'll follow, let's say, like for professional reasons. Yeah, there are some accounts I'll follow, like female celebrities or models or whatever, because we're in the social media industry, and and I follow them. Or some of them I know them.
I think for us it's a little different because if you were just, not in the industry, right, and you have a partner that follows like all these, let's say, girls or models,
and I was like
weird?
liking booty pics of
exactly.
different girls. Yeah,
that is weird. I would be a little weird about it.
You would be weird, right?
I would be weird. I just think you'll be a little like.
So the moral of the story is, if your man is not in the entertainment industry, and if he follows a bunch of Instagram models, right? If he follows a bunch of Instagram models and he's, I would probably, that would be a little strange. So.
Yeah, I really I do find it strange. And I also, there's this trend that I see on TikTok that like girls, their man of their dreams is like a man without a social media presence. Like for them, that's like.
Really?
Yes, like a species that doesn't exist anymore, because I think that the younger generation, that's what they're kind of facing, is that you have a lot of like, stimulation visually, and guys just don't, like especially younger guys, they just don't get it. Like they don't understand why.
Look, I think it's a difficult situation. I think when I was in my 20s, we didn't have any of this stuff. We didn't have any social media.
Yeah.
And I can just imagine if you're in your 20s, girls or guys, and you're dating someone and you have this constant like influx of other people's like photos and videos of other attractive people of the opposite sex, I can see how it could be very very distracting. Look, I think the correct thing to do if you're serious about someone, and just in general, you may want to limit the amount of people that you follow of the opposite sex for that reason if you're involved in a serious relationship. The other thing is, I want to give maybe the guys some advice out there, that if you are at the point in your life where you are looking for a serious relationship, and I actually have this conversation with men at some, like I have guys who talk to me, young guys who say, I want to get married and I don't understand why I can't get married, why I can't meet anyone. And then I'll say, well, let me take a look at your Instagram. And I go on their Instagram and they're following, like a couple of hundred like models. And I'm just like, hey, you should probably stop following this, because a woman will look at this and think
100%.
Right. So you have to use common sense.
How to deal with the bug in your head that your partner is hiding something. I think that it goes back to that jealousy situation. It's a red flag. You have to understand and be very honest with yourself. Is that something with you that's going on, or like what perpetuated this kind of like feeling that he's doing something wrong?
I think you need to look at the relationship at more of a high level, more holistically. And if you're happy overall with the relationship, and if things are going great, and if your core values align, and you guys are, accomplishing whatever it is that you want to accomplish as a couple, but you have this nagging feeling that your partner is hiding something from you, I think you have two choices. You can either ignore it and move on and kind of be grateful for the good in the relationship because it outweighs this negative, or
I don't think you can ignore it.
Or ask your partner, hey, listen, like I have this feeling, I feel you're hiding something from me. This is why. Let's discuss it. Let's put it up. Like, let's open it up. But the thing is that if that partner is truly hiding something from you, and he or she doesn't want you to know, they're just going to tell you there's nothing.
It's a combination of trusting your intuition and being, and communicate with your partner. If someone makes you feel like you're crazy, then your intuition is right. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's something that is a very big red flag in relationships, when the person that's doing wrong makes you believe that you're not okay.
If someone makes you feel like you're crazy, chances are you're not crazy. Chances are they're doing something wrong.
Exactly. How to overcome jealousy and fear of abandonment. Therapy. A lot of these fears are coming from our childhood, so I wouldn't put this type of weight on your partner or yourself really to figure out. I would go to a professional and seek help in order to learn tools and to unlearn certain like patterns that you might have from your childhood. So.
I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but what I can tell you that fears of abandonment, in my opinion, come from an individual's feeling of inadequacy and insecurity. If you systematically work on yourself and work on the things that you feel you need to do to improve yourself, then that fear of abandonment, in my opinion, will go away. Meaning, if you're no, you're shaking your head, but you haven't finished yet. If you continue working on yourself, on your physical, on your spiritual, on your career, if you consistently improve the things that you feel are important, your self-esteem goes up, and as your self-esteem rises, then your fear of abandonment decreases, in my opinion. But it takes consistent work over time.
You're not wrong. I just think that such ingrained behavior or like thought patterns is something that's so much deeper than just like wake up and go work out and always improve yourself. A lot of it is certain like wiring that we're not even aware is there. So that's why I truly recommend to go and see someone. You know what? I went to therapy one time. I felt really, really low, for a period of time. And I was like, I'm a very aware person. I very much know myself. And I just felt like, you know what? I have a lot of tools, but I don't have right now the tool to help me out of this situation. I saw the therapist one time, and even one session, I really sat down and everything just became clear. So it might be even one session, it might be two, it might be three, doesn't matter. It's the best investment you can make, because I think that sometimes we take too much on ourselves, and a lot of these things are just so deep down that for a lot of us, it's hard to reach there.
So I don't think it's one or the other. I think if you work on yourself, the
yes,
way that
it's
I'm
100%
describing,
a combination.
and if you do,
yes.
And if you go to therapy,
Yes.
I think doing both potentially are good. Or it could be, it depends on the type of individual you are. What I'm suggesting may work better for one person, or what Valeria is suggesting may work better for that person, or vice versa.
Yeah. What are your views on cheating?
I think it's a bad idea.
I also think it's a bad idea.
Bad idea.
What about emotional cheating? I think it's the same. I think that if you go out there and look for something, it means that something is lacking in your relationship, and I would look at it as a red flag to go back to your relationship and really try to understand what is not fulfilled there and work on it, rather than this is the easy route, in my opinion.
I was just talking to a friend of mine. He's a gentleman. He's actually a little older than me, and we were talking about putting yourself in potentially bad situations. So you're better not to put yourself in a situation where you even have the potential of slipping, because we're all human beings, and sometimes people screw up. They do, and I'm not suggesting that they need to be forgiven for it. But
no, I agree.
If you're a drinker and you know that if you go out and you might have a couple of drinks, don't go to a bar with single people in it. Just don't go. Why go?
Go to a bar with married people.
Don't go to a bar. Don't put yourself in scenarios or in situations where the temptation might get to you.
Yeah.
So I think we can both agree that cheating is bad. It's disruptive, especially in any relationship, especially a marriage. It could break homes. It could just destroy lives. So if you think that you might succumb to temptation, don't even put yourself in that situation. Just stay out of it. That's my opinion.
I agree with you. How do you celebrate each other's success without feeling jealousy?
That's a good one. We haven't talked about jealousy outside of relationship, other people kind of jealousy. Professional jealousy is a real thing as well. Look, I think that when you're in a relationship, whether it's a short-term relationship or a long-term or a marriage, whatever it may be, part of being in that relationship and the criteria that you should use when you're in that relationship is, besides the benefit that you receive by being in a relationship, you have to ask yourself, what benefit am I giving to that person as well? Because if you truly love that person, you want them to benefit as well. So that leads to my point, which is, if you're in a relationship, you really should be looking at the mutual benefit of the team, of both of you. So when your partner succeeds, that's the team's success, right? So in professional sports, when in soccer, if somebody scores a goal, the team gets the point. So I think it's important that as a team, you look at things in that light. If your spouse, let's say if Valeria professionally is doing amazing things, if I'm jealous, that means I have inadequacies, I have insecurity issues, which I don't. So I'm obviously very happy for her successes, because not only is it better for her professionally, I think it's a big win for her personally as well.
I agree. I think that I'm not for 1 second. I've experienced it personally. I think that if anything, it wasn't jealousy, it was more like motivation for me, to figure out my own path. Watching you do your thing pushed me to do better.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's.
So you're telling me part of your reason for becoming what you've become professionally is because watching me and what I did in my career?
Yes, I think that first of all, you made me believe that I'm destined to like greatness, even though I didn't know my direction back then. You always told me like your life is your art, and you told me from like the first week that we met. It was the weirdest thing. You kind of like it's like you.
Because I knew.
No, I know, but isn't
not
it
that I'm
hilarious?
taking credit.
But isn't it so funny that the profession I'm in, my life is my work.
Yeah. And what's funny is that Valeria and I would go into meetings at the early stages, like 5-6 years ago, of Valeria's career as an influencer when she had a relatively small audience, and we would meet with agencies and management companies, and I was just going there just to entertain it because I knew that was already after Valeria had agreed to bring me on as her business partner, and I knew that there was no manager or agent, even though they may have had more specific experience in this type of work, but none of them would have done a better job as I would because of my interest in Valeria, because she's my partner in life, she's my wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going into those meetings, and I already knew like I didn't really like, they were just kind of fun for me, and I remember some of these like management companies and agencies would say, so what do you guys think? Like, what's the end game for you? And I remember I would look people dead in the eye and I would say, Valeria is the Oprah of her generation. And you were so she was so embarrassed. I said, she's gonna be the biggest celebrity in the world, and I'm not gonna stop until she's and I remember they would look at me like I was a crazy person, like I was completely out of my mind, and you were just mortified whenever I would make these statements. But on a serious note, I think that was such an important thing for me to do, because I wanted you to understand that I don't care if I look like a complete lunatic in front of people. I care more about you succeeding and instilling this confidence in you, how much I believe in you. So getting back to this whole professional jealousy thing, you gotta flip that whole thing, because if you get behind your partner, and if your partner's the correct partner, if you get behind your partner, like, you guys will move mountains together. And what Valeria has accomplished, and I'm never one to want to take credit for any of her accomplishments, but to a certain degree I have to say the credit I want to take is that from early on I always pushed her and told her, you are the best there is, and you can accomplish any of this. And I still think, and I'm telling you guys, I still think she's the Oprah of her generation. I still firmly believe it, and you guys will all see. You guys will all see.
How to not be jealous of your partner's previous relationships. I think that's really all about you. I think it's more about your self-worth and your like you gotta work on yourself, because the fact that you're even looking at previous there's a reason the partner's not there anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's here. A lot of people waste a lot of time and honestly waste their relationships away because they're so wrapped up in all these scenarios of the past that are just so irrelevant.
As far as my past relationships are concerned, I just don't talk about them because I don't care to talk about them.
Right.
So Valeria has no reason to feel any kind of way about them because I don't bring them up.
Yeah, obviously if you're like with your partner and you're like, oh my God, me and Chad.
But that's just
ice cream in Italy.
Who the hell is Chad?
I don't know. There's no Chad.
The point is that don't talk about your past relationships. I think that's the takeaway. Stop talking about your past relationships.
Right.
Stop it. There's no need.
But
for
there's
it.
some situations where there's an insecure person in a relationship, and even if there's no talking, you just know there is an ex, and you just have.
As far as your past relationships are concerned, I just think that they were all just the result of poor judgment by you.
They were all training for.
They were all training for me. That's great. Thank you, gentlemen. Because I kind of have an understanding of who your exes were, and I think it was all just bad judgment. But it's okay. At the end of the day, things worked out.
I don't disagree. This is it, you guys. Thank you so much.
That's it?
Yeah, thank
this
you
is
so
much fun. I want to continue.
This was so nice. This was a good topic. I love it. Let us know what other topic you want us to talk about. We are going granular into like specific things. So we'd love to hear your thoughts. And thank you for watching. Mwah. Love you.
Bye, guys.